Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of the Generation Wrestling Podcast. As always, as yours truly, the 29-year-old piece of gold, the franchise, aka the showstopper, better known as the GOW's resident tribal chief. And with me, as always, I got my tag team partner, my brother, my family. He is the flyest in the room, Mr. 1, 2, 3, pin that ass down, K Breezy, aka King Two Gold in the building. Brother, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. You know, today's a special day, man. So I am excited and I am happy. So, man, let's not waste. Let's get into it, man. And tell the
All
people who
right,
we
and
got.
introducing again to the second time for the on the GOW. She is WWE multi-time women's champion, former Impact Knockouts champion, the forever champion in my heart, hardcore country, Mickie James. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Great, great, great. So, Tuco, I know you had some things you want to get off your chest. You want to talk to the champ first, really quick.
Well, we're on the last rodeo. Well, as they say, that this is the last rodeo for you. You have your match with Jordan Grace for the Knockouts Championship, career versus championship match, and you guys had this tag team match where I know you and Tasha Steeles have. She's been kind of having your number, and you this
Oh,
is something you've been. Well, not just having your number, but just someone who just
she's
really been
been,
that thorn in your side,
she has been
and
nice, and she reminds me of that all the
oh,
time.
loves to,
Reminds everything
loves
that
right,
she.
and she loves, and the fact that she wanted, she didn't feel that you deserved it, and your championship opportunity was on the line, but of course because Jordan got the hot tag, the blind tag on you, of course she got the pin in the match. What was going on for you at the end of that match?
I think I was insulted. I was insulted because first off, Jordan had already kind of expressed her lack of faith in me and the fact that she thought that I could beat Tasha in the first place,
Right,
and um, obviously the tensions are high because going into Hard to Kill, the stakes are high. But
right.
I also want Jordan to respect me, and um, it would have meant a lot for me to shut Tasha up for good. And the fact is I didn't really get to shut her up, did I? Because Jordan tagged herself in and shut her up for me. And I don't need anyone to do anything for me, if I'm
Right.
uh, and that could be stubbornness. Some could say that's stubbornness, but it's also, a kind of a point to prove because now Tasha can continue to walk around and say that I never beat her. And she's
Mm,
not lying because I didn't beat her.
mm.
Speaking of hard to
Go ahead.
kill, so last year this
Mm,
time, what a difference a year makes, right? Last year you were fighting Deanna Perrazzo in a Texas, death match, and now fast forward a year later, we're talking about the last rodeo, it's career versus title, you versus Jordan Grace, and Jordan, somebody much like you, even though her career isn't quite as extensive as yours, has become really synonymous with Impact Wrestling, but women's wrestling in general.
Hmm. Hmm.
Breaking the fourth wall a little bit here. I understand storyline wise this career versus title, but say if this is Mickie James' last match for now, behind the scenes, how much of this was your input, or was it just a circumstance of the fact she's the champion?
Well, I think that she's held on to that championship parallel to this last rodeo this whole time, and she's had some phenomenal matches. I've in fact went back and watched a lot of them just so I can study her going into this match. But um, I think that she doesn't want to lose that championship because she's a strong champion, and I think she's done
Yes.
a remarkable job of representing that Knockouts World Championship as representing, and that's kind of the truth of it is when you are champion, you're representing the whole division, and
Yes.
she's done a great job of representing the division while she's been champion, and I'm sure she doesn't want to lose it, and I'm sure she's thinking like if she can be the one to retire Mickie James, that's a pretty great notch to put in her belt. The fact Jordan and I have never faced each other. We've never
Yeah.
that I mean that us being tag
eh,
partners was one of the first times we've even really ever been in the ring together. So um obviously I think it just kind of worked out. It worked out that way. I was willing to take on whoever the champion was by the time this moment came. And, you know, Jordan had just beat Masha and she's watched me on this last rodeo and she knew that that was the end, like what I really wanted was to work my way up the roster, and I'm grateful that she realized that, or she felt anyway, that I had worked my way through the roster enough, and it was time. And maybe that is due to some of the fact of we haven't faced each other, and she's defended her championship this whole time while she's watched me do this, and so maybe I didn't really know who else I could beat or how much more. I mean, there's obviously other women on the roster, very talented women.
Right.
But yeah, it just kind of worked itself out that way. And it is kind of crazy now, fast forward, that was a year ago.
Yeah, already.
Now we're going into this one, and that was the Texas Death Match, and it was crazy and a type of match that I'd never been in before. And I feel like come the 13th in Atlanta, it's going to be another crazy match, and one that I've never been in before, because I've seen how hard she hits and I see how she wrestles, and I got to prepare myself, my mind and my body, for that.
You say prepare yourself. Are you really truly prepared for retirement? If not putting it on you that you're going to lose, because you're hardcore country, we believe that you're going to win, but are you prepared for retirement? Are you prepared to not wrestle anymore?
I go on a roller coaster with it, because it has been my identity for the last, not my complete identity, but it's what I'm the best at. It's what I've dedicated my life to, and my passion and my heart to, and given up a lot of things in order to be successful at. I don't know what I'm as good at as I am as wrestling. I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't really prepared for it. Here's the thing, is I do believe in that mental game. And if I go in there thinking next chapter, or thinking that I'm going to lose, I've already lost. So I can't even think that or put that in the forefront as even a possibility. And I know that eventually I'm going to have to think about that. And I'm open to options. But for right now, I think all I can do is look in front of me, and look what's right in front of me. And then come the 14th, we'll know what that decision is going to have to be, whether it's next chapter or next champion.
Awesome. Speaking of, like he said, prepare, and you said you got to look forward, but in order to look forward, you need to know from where you came. And when you look at how you came up in this business, and the men and the women you've outlasted longevity wise in the ring, and some would even say last 2 years, maybe arguably 2 of your best years. How does it feel to know, as long as you've been in this game, some people still consider you the very best at what you do?
Oh, I'm very grateful that they would think that, because now more than ever, and there's been incredible women all along, this journey that I've been able to step in the ring with, but now more than ever, the talent out there is even thicker than it's ever been. And there's some great women out there. There's great men out there too, but obviously I remain in the women's division, so that's who I pay the most attention to as far as competition goes. And to still be considered one of the best when you have all these women and that are given opportunities that we prayed for, it's really cool. It's really cool. And the fact that I can still be a part of the locker room environment through all of this, I think it's pretty awesome. And I cherish those moments in the locker room with these girls as much as hopefully they cherish them with me. And they're not going to be lasting too much longer, but it's I just want to make the most out of it while I can.
Really quick, looking back, on your days of Impact, what are some of the, we have Hard to Kill pay-per-view coming up. You've made your mark last year, as we've already talked about. What are some of the matches that are the matches that you got to go back and just watch, because those are the ones that's like, man, there's just something about that one match, or if you just have a couple on, that you can think of.
No, I struggle to watch my matches back because I'm a perfectionist, and I hate everything that I do, and I just sit there and just nitpick myself apart.
Well, not just your matches, but other people's matches also.
Oh, well, as far as, for my matches, I was going to say, I still can go back and watch that Clockwork Orange House of Fun match that I did. against Jeff Jarrett and like the early days TNA, because that was something that women just weren't doing at the time.
Right.
And I was the first and only woman to do it for almost a decade. There was, so I watched that match back. I watched that match back with Deanna from Hard to Kill, the Texas Death Match. I mean, that was pretty awesome. Honestly, every time I've been in there with Deanna, it's been awesome. Like, she might be one of the greatest opponents I've ever been in there with, as far as tit for tat, that balance of two different styles, of two different generations kind of really going at it. Obviously, the WrestleMania match against Trish will always stand up there just because of the butterflies and the emotions I can still feel, and especially like specific moments when, that was the first time winning the championship. It was my first WrestleMania, and there's times that I got lost in the match and lost in my emotions and lost in the moment. And I can still do that to this day, and I can still go back to those. The cage match with Lisa, with Tara at the time, when we were the main event of the show in a double segment cage match. And it was probably my first cage match since Women Extreme Wrestling, like on the independent, So it was a long time since I had been in a cage, and to do that dive off the top of the cage, which was used forever as clips.
Always, because that was a nice dive.
The Falls Count Anywhere match with Melina, like that match was dope, and that was something that they weren't really doing a whole lot of at the time. So for her and I to be able to do a Falls Count Anywhere match right throughout the entire arena,
just that roughness of seeing two women, just you never really got to see it, right? And just loved it,
because it was very much going into that diva era too, where they were kind of backing off of the women's wrestling as much. And so she and I were really like, she was a Hellcat anyway, and I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but we were unforgiving to each other. We would sometimes not even apologize later, because we had such a relationship like that it was just wild. And but she always brought out the best in me. She really did. And my whole feud with Beth Phoenix, I mean, I could just sit here and go on. I think what's great is that I like every female, especially storyline wise, the Michelle McCool and Layla, Beth, and they all held a special place in my heart, because they were very different human beings, and they were very different performers and athletes. And so the types of matches and the types of things that it brought out of you were always different. So they're each special in their own way, because of you're not going to get that same chemistry with each person. It's always going to be a little bit different.
Mickie, a couple more questions before we let you go. I want to get really, really honest with you. Professional wrestling. Do you think Mickie James will leave professional wrestling a better place than she found it?
Yes, I do. Because that was the whole, once I got into wrestling and I realized what I was jumping into feet first, and how different it was, and how much I loved it, and how passionate I was for it, but how I really yearned for women to be seen as credible, equal talents, because I trained with all men. There weren't a lot of women training. There weren't a lot of women leaders at that time, helping to mold the next generation. And now all of that is changing so much. But the whole purpose was to leave it. That's what my trainer told me, was you got to leave the business better than you found it. And if you're not doing that, then you're not doing your job. So if I can't do that, then I will never say my career was all for nothing. But if I couldn't leave it, and even I'd say that I've already in some ways done that, then I kind of misstepped along the way somehow.
Well, most definitely. But with you, with there being a leader and Jordan Grayson being that leader of the new for the new women going forward and Impact, and you having this match with and I think I kind of asked you this earlier, but just kind of want to just really get back to it for your match. What is your preparation for her? She's big, she's strong, she's fast. She is not like any other woman. Not too many. There's only maybe been one or two of her.
She's cut from a different cloth, and there's the reason why she's the champion. And she's hard to beat. Clearly, there's no way I'm going to be able to hit as hard as Jordan. I'm not as strong as Jordan, and there's no way that, you know, in 11 days or 10 days or whatever it is away now,
Right.
I'm going to be that strong. I'll never be that strong. You know,
Mm.
I do know that I feel that when it comes down to business and when it comes down to in that ring, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm like a, you know, not even like a professor or a doctor or whatever you would call it of the business, but I've learned every facet of it, you know, from grappling to shooting to wrestling to entertaining. And you know, to the high flying stuff. Do I do it all? No, because it doesn't really represent me, but it doesn't mean I can't
Yeah.
if I have to, you know,
Right.
it doesn't mean that I won't because I have, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes. But I have been strength training, obviously, because I'm going to have to be in there next with her. I've been doing a lot of mind and body training and mentally preparing myself, because you have to train your mind just as hard as you train your body. You know, you really do, especially in this business. But yeah, that's all I can do is just prepare myself mentally and physically.
Well, speaking of prepared, we got career versus title, said it already. We got Mickie James versus Jordan Grace, Friday the 13th,
Ooh.
center stage, Atlanta, Georgia. Again, a year away from the classic match that you and Deonna Purrazzo had. Mickie, I know you got to get ready to go. We know you have other obligations. Any final words you would like to share before we get out of here today?
Well, I just want to say thanks to my fans who have followed me this whole time and who have stuck by me. It really has meant a lot to me, from Alexis Lurie to Mickie James to Hardcore Country and this last rodeo. It really has been a phenomenal ride. And thank you to my haters for hating, because if hate fuels me, and I want to prove you wrong, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you putting a fire underneath my butt to make me fight that much harder. So thank you to those, and you know, my family and my husband, you know, who support me and help me be able to keep doing this dream, you know, and wrestling business, man. Like, I don't know what I would have done in life without wrestling. Where would I be now? I don't know, but probably training courses somewhere and being equally awesome as a human being. Let's face it. But you know,
and being hardcore country, and I don't think we could have gotten anyone to exactly like you, because you definitely came in a different way, and you made your own mark, and you've been on a hell of a run. And honestly, I don't want to see it end. I don't believe it will end. I believe we will see a new knockout women's champion January 13th, I believe, and we will have no more further talk of this possible retirement. But it's just been an honor of to just watch you in over your career, just be so many different, you know, be able to, as we say with you know, with Chris Jericho, just somebody who's able to evolve and reinvent themselves time and time again. And you have definitely been one of those catalysts. You are definitely a renaissance. You definitely of this business, and it's been an honor to see that.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yes. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to tune in. I am your host, the 29-year-old piece of gold. He is also your host, King Too Cold, and she is my forever champion, hardcore country, Mickie James. See you guys later.